Good afternoon. I'll call to order the Board of Directors regular meeting for Tuesday, January 16th, 2024 at 3 p.m. May I have a roll call, please?
Director Meyerhoffen.
Present.
Director Duff.
Here.
Director Martin.
Present.
Vice President Griffith.
Present.
And President Sewell.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
And seeing that all 5 directors are here, we will skip item 3. Item 4, Pledge of Allegiance, if you'd please rise. Director Martin, would you lead us, please?
Please place your hand over your heart and salute our nation's flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the
and
republic
for which it stands,
one
nation under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Item 5, Rules of Procedure, Counselor.
Yes, according to the rules of procedure adopted by the Board of Directors, all noticed meetings are conducted using Rosenberg's Rules of Order as a procedural guideline. Directors should refrain from responding directly to public comments at meetings of the board. The president of the board presides at all meetings and decides all points of order and procedure during meetings. The president is responsible for the maintenance of order and decorum at all board meetings. No person should be allowed to speak who has not first been recognized by the president. No member of the board should speak more than once upon any one subject until every other member of the board wishing to speak on the subject shall have been given an opportunity to speak. No board member shall interfere with the orderly progress of a board meeting, and the board president regulates the amount of time to be dedicated to a particular agenda item.
Thank you. Item 6, Public Input. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the board on matters within the board's jurisdiction. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. State law prohibits the board from discussing or taking action on any item not listed on the agenda. Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak?
Not at this time, President Sewell. We do have a member of the public who will speak later on item 8.
Okay, thank you. Employee recognition, item 7, Human Resources Report. Staff?
Thank you, President Sewell. Yes, the Human Resource Report is in your packet. We have started something new with 2024 where we're only going to recognize formally here at the board meeting the 5 and 10 year, 15, the milestone dates. But there are 4 individuals that are celebrating anniversaries. Grant Farnier, Fernando Ruiz, Lorenzo Soto, and our own Arturo Ceja. 1 year, 6 years, and 12 years respectively. So congratulations to those 4 individuals.
Yes, and thank you to those, not to diminish any of these smaller year anniversaries, but I think it might even be a benefit for staff to not have to come in and speak in front of us. I know it's
it was a 50-50 mix. Some of them
Yes.
appreciated the opportunity to thank you for your supports. Others, yes, are very bashful and wanted to.
But we'll continue on with those milestones.
Yes.
So thank you. Moving on, action items, item 8, Federal Advocacy Services, Carpy and Clay Incorporated. It is recommended to authorize the interim general manager to execute an agreement for services with Carpy and Clay Government Relations in the amount of $5,000 per month for the term February 1st, 2024 to January 31st, 2025.
Thank you, President Sewell. On Thursday, our representative from Carpy Clay gave a report. We discussed their contract. And at that time, I believe staff answered all the questions that were asked of us. If there are any additional questions, Marion is here to answer those. But if there are any questions by the board,
okay,
that concludes our report.
Any discussion or questions, Director Martin?
No.
Director Meyerhoffen? Director Duff?
No, thank you.
Vice President Griffith? All right, and I'll open public comment. I believe we have a member of the public wishing to speak on this item.
Yes, President Sewell, we do. Pamela, you're up.
I just want to say say thank you for your having this lobbying for this ability to have this. This morning I was at a association meeting of our local water here in Sun City, West Arizona, and a member or a representative from EPCOR, who is our water provider, came. Now, to get anything done through them, we have to go through layers of administration, and here you have a board, a lobbyist, and because of that, you have a new sewage plant. And they were talking about raising our water rates or our sewage rates, and I asked them, well, can you get funding? And I kind of halfway answer, yes, we are doing that. But I don't think the members of Desert Hot Springs realize how lucky they are to have this type of board meeting and a representative who can represent us in Congress as well. So just thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Pamela. I agree completely. So, any further public comment?
No, President Sewell.
All right, we'll close the public comment, and unless any other discussion, we're open for a motion.
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith.
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Item 9, acknowledge MSWD legislative platform for 2024-2025. It is recommended to receive and file the MSWD 2024-25 legislative platform.
Thank you, President Sewell. Marion Champion gave a presentation regarding our legislative platform on Thursday. Again, I think we answered all the relevant questions that were given and responded to all comments. At this point, are there any additional questions?
Do we have anything further? Director Duff? Vice President Griffith?
Nope.
Director Martin? Director Meyer? Seeing none, do we have a motion to
President
acknowledge?
Sewell,
Oh, yes.
I apologize. Pamela Edmondson has her hand up again. Pamela, did you have comment on this?
No,
item?
I just accidentally hit the wrong key, a 9 instead of 6. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
But Pamela, I do appreciate you because I need to open this for public comment if we have any members of the public wishing to speak on item 9.
President Sewell, it doesn't appear that we do.
And I'm sorry, sir, that we missed you in the beginning of the meeting. We did already have our public comment section. Did you have an item specifically you were hoping to speak on? No. Okay, thank you. So we're open for a motion for item 9.
I'd like to make a motion to acknowledge the legislative platform for 24-25.
I'll second it.
Right, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Yes.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Item 10, resolutions 2024-01, 2024-04, and 2024-05, revised fiscal year 2023-24 operating and capital budget appropriations limit and classification plan. It is recommended to adopt resolutions 2021-01, 2024-04, and 2024-05 related to the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, revised operating and capital budgets. Anything further from staff?
No, Director. So we gave a mid-year mid-year budget report at the workshop. We then gave another summary on Thursday. And in reality, the revenues are on track. The expenses, some are higher, some are lower. That's why we're asking for some of the modifications, but even that as a total number is still on track. And then, of course, the classification plan, adding one new position and revising another position. Those are the items for the mid-year.
Any discussion or questions from the board? Director Martin?
No.
Director Meyer?
No.
Director Duff?
No.
Vice President Griffith?
None.
Right. Do we have a motion for item 10?
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith.
Aye.
And President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Item 11, resolution 2024-02, amending resolution 2023-16, revisions to Mission Springs Water District personnel rules and regulations. It is recommended to adopt resolution 2024-02, providing for the revisions to Mission Springs Water District's personnel rules and regulations.
Thank you, President Sewell. We gave a report on this item on Thursday. There was one correction that needs to be added, which is changing, there's an even instead of event. But other than that, I believe we addressed all the questions on Thursday. So if there are any additional questions, Oriana Hofford is on the Zoom call.
Okay, thank you. Director Duff, any questions?
No questions, just two comments. Thank you for the correction there with that typo. And also just wanted to again thank our HR staff for being able to get this to the board in January. There are companies that struggle getting these new rules and regulations into place, and we do so in a very quick manner, and I'm appreciative of that. Thank you.
Vice President Griffin? Director Martin?
No.
Director Maya?
No.
Do we have a motion to approve item 11?
So moved. I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. Item 12, Resolution 2024-03, rescinding and replacing Resolution 2009-02, expense reimbursement policy. It is recommended to adopt Resolution 2024-03, rescinding and replacing Resolution 2009-02, reimbursement policy.
Thank you, President Sewell. Our legal counsel gave a presentation on Thursday regarding this item. We addressed a couple of questions, but if there are any additional questions, JP is here to answer those.
Any further discussion, Director Martin, Director Myhoff?
No.
Director Duff? Vice President Griffin? Seeing none, do we have a motion for item 12?
I will moved.
Who would like to be the second?
Age before beauty. I'll be second.
We have a motion and a second, and I'm sorry, did we have any members of the public wishing to speak on item 12?
President Sewell, we do not.
We'll close the public comment. And with a motion and a second, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Item 13, authorize general manager employment agreement. It is recommended to authorize the board president to execute a general manager's employment agreement between Mission Springs Water District and Brian Macy. Anything further?
President Sewell, I will leave the room and let legal counsel take this item.
So on Thursday, we went through the agreement in detail, what the changes were from the existing interim general manager contract. As I said on Thursday, this is a transition from interim general manager to general manager. Salary stays the same, and then the other changes that I went over in detail on Thursday.
Did we have any further discussion, Director Duff? Vice President Griffin? Director Martin? Director Meyerhoff? And I'll open public comment. Do we have any members of the public wishing to address the board on item 13?
President Sewell, we do not.
We'll close public comment and we're open for a motion.
I'll move. I'll second it.
With a motion and a second, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Could you? Thank you, Dan. Item 14, Third Amendment to contract with Renewal Clark Architects for the design of the Critical Services Center Administration Building. It is recommended to authorize the general manager to amend the professional services contract with Renewal Clark Architects for the design of the Critical Services Center Administration Building at the District Corporate Yard. The amendment would increase the contract amount $393,200 from $1,860,964 to a not to exceed amount of $2,254,164. and authorize the general manager to do all things necessary to complete the project.
Thank you, President Sewell. We did give a presentation on this on Thursday. Just to reiterate, this is only for the extra design fee that is related to moving the building as they stand now, rotating, mirroring the larger building, but also redesigning the site, a new site, if you will, at the corporate yard. If you have any additional questions, Alvin Flores from Real Clark is on the call and been available for any questions.
Anything, discussion or questions from the board? Director Martin? Director Meyerhoffen?
No.
Director Duff? Okay,
On Thursday, I had made reference to the exclusions list in attachment 1 of the architect's amendment. And I was asking if we could try to cross any of these items off prior to checking with the city about planning and whether or not we were going to have any of those environmental or hazardous materials reports or et cetera. I just wanted to check and see if we were able to, in one day, accomplish any of that.
Unfortunately, I've been exchanging voicemail or emails with the city manager, not been able to talk to him directly about this, nor haven't we have able to sync up with staff either. So I apologize, but we will definitely continue to update you on any changes. And obviously, if we do come across anything of any substance that will delay anything or not allow us to build at that location, we'll stop the design services immediately and bring that to you.
Okay. And can you just reiterate for us one more time, which of these items we know we aren't going to need? We were pretty sure we weren't going to need, I think it was CEQA and the hazardous materials weren't going to be an issue. So if you could, just so that I could document that for my own.
Yes. So the exclusions. I apologize.
Page 82 of the.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Here you go.
Thank you. So the exclusions, a topographic survey, we have completed that, but we will also be going out and asking our survey to pick up any additional information that Ronald Clark needs. We flew the area, and when I say flew, basically we had some aerial photography shot and then also be able to convert that over to the topographic and location of everything that they could see. That was actually done we talked about building a wall around that or fortifying the wall. All of that effort was done before. Nothing has really changed there. But when we're doing the lot line adjustment, that will give us another opportunity to pick up any changes that are out there. So that's not going to be done by Renewal Clark. The geotechnical report, if required, we do have a couple of sampling wells in that area. So we do have some geotechnical information. Is that enough to use to build these buildings or not? That's one thing that Renewal Clark will get into. And if they do, we'll have to do an additional soil borings. Hazardous testing, I think specifically was because we have gasoline, diesel, and other materials. We do keep very tight records on those and make sure that we do have proper containment. So we don't feel there's going to be any true hazardous issues with that. We'll just simply remove them from site. Environmental studies, the CEQA, when we talked to Dotson several months ago, one of the things they were talking about was doing an amendment to our existing Horton plant permit because this area is covered by that. And they didn't feel that an amendment, or they felt amendment would be required. And that was sort of confirmed when we were working with the city because traffic, noise, and all those other things already is at that location. We're not actually adding anything. We may be actually removing some of the trips that are coming in and out of there once you consider the natural gas station that is there, especially the larger vehicles. And permit, plan check, agency fees. Don't expect those to be too much of an issue when we go through the city. We didn't have any real issues with the 2-bunch location. Granted, we stopped just short of going through a detailed plan review with them, but when we met with them over the course of several months, it didn't seem to be too much of an issue with where our driveways and stuff like that were. We're not necessarily changing the driveways in this particular case, but the one thing that they may be concerned with is the interaction between the park and our property because they do have a couple of large irrigation units at that one corner, but we'll work with them over that. And then, of course, reproduction of plans that wasn't in the original bid. Anytime we need a big set of plans, we can do that ourselves. We have a contract with Planet Reprographics, and we've been able to do that. So from that perspective, that sort of addresses all the exclusions, if you will.
Thank you very much for that. I was able to take some notes. I appreciate it. So then just to reiterate, if I'm understanding previous conversation correctly, when you previously discussed with the city where we were going to put this and the Horton plant was on that list of discussions at the very beginning years ago, was I right in understanding that the city was supportive of it being at the Horton plant at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. From their perspective, that park at night doesn't really have too much traffic going in, and they feel that if our building is there and it's more a different use, if you will, there's going to be a little bit more oversight during the day and things like that. Obviously, the night, we're going to have a lot of cameras and stuff like that on our facilities as we do now, but they just felt having another presence down there would help the security at that park. But at the time we were having those discussions, at least those original discussions, the housing project was not really discussed and the library hadn't been built yet. So there's going to be other things that help facilitate the security of that park, and we're just going to complement those.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for clarifying the record for me.
Vice President Griffin? And I have nothing further. Do we have a motion for public comment?
Could you forgot to ask President Martin?
I started with you, but I can go back to you.
No, he did. Oh, I didn't hear it.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I just got new hearing aids too. I didn't get it.
Go ahead, Ted.
We all know the history of the first location down at Two Bunch Palms. We started to now, and now I'm hearing that we still haven't been able to meet with the city. That's what happened the first time down there at Two Bunch Palms. You're saying that years ago, that's where the city wanted it. But here we are now with new council members. So I don't want to run into this problem that, the city doesn't want it there, or there's some other problems. They have another location they'd like for us to go. The second problem is there is a way that was handled down at Two Bunch. If it was my bill, I just fired everybody and started over. Now you come over here to the Horton plant. And don't get me wrong, I understand we need another building. I'm not trying to put a stop to anything. But you come over to the Horton plant, we hire some experts to guide us where we should go or what properties we shouldn't buy. And I asked a simple question: how much is it going to cost to remove the buildings that are there? That was going to be a $600,000 mistake. So here we are already going down the same path as we went before. Now, when we looked at the plans, I know Mr. Mason and we looked at some plans, you kind of drew some things out there. And the architect told us at one meeting that we may not have as big as gardens we want. And there was a charging station there that we wanted, and we may not be able to put it in. So we're already running out of room. And now, as I forwarded some information to General Manager Macy there about the state within the next 10 years wants us to have a charging station and electric vehicles. So where is that going to be? I haven't heard anything about that. Where are we going to put that? We have 7 vehicles showing up here in the morning. So we're probably going to have 10 vehicles. They're going to need to be charged overnight. So I was told that, yeah, we can expand with room. And I go and I look at the stuff, I sent you the photo. And if we're going to expand over to where the pond is, and the pond should have been moved over out of the way. So there's some more cost that's going to end up in the future. So it's not so much the location at this point. If that's what the directors want to do, I'll have to go along with it. That's fine. But we're going to run out of room there. And then here we are. We already spent, and it would be unethical for me to say that we spent $2 million, because that's what I remember, and that's what I've been saying all along on the plans. Now you want to possibly spend another $1,865,000, to $2 million. I don't know how much just in plans we've got going on here. And I've always said that I don't want to start on this project until we have all the funding in for the Nancy Wright treatment plant. As we discussed on Thursday, that's what makes them, that's what other districts have had a problem with going bankrupt because the money eventually didn't come in from the state, or they had to wait so long and they overextended themselves. I don't want to end up in that problem. Two major problems have happened over there on the Nancy Wright treatment plant. And we all know what those are, and we're waiting to correct one now. And the other one was getting the funding. Well, what is, what are we really doing here? So I'm against going forward with this, especially if this amount of money and the problems that we've already run into. And that we don't even have environmental impact reports and that, and you hire an architect to draw up plans. I'm just totally against it right now. I don't want to go bankrupt. I don't want to run out of room over there. And for right now, I think we should concentrate on getting the Nancy Wright treatment plant finished and get all that money in for that before we move forward.
And just to clarify a few things, General Manager Macy, congratulations.
Thank
Could you respond to just what has been spent? I think there's a little bit of misconception as what is budgeted versus what has been spent and exactly where we are to date.
So the item in front of you is for $364,000 added to the existing contract of $1.86 million. To date, we spent roughly $1 million, I believe. So we've only spent $1 million. So we still have $800,000 left of that original, or excuse me, after amendment number 2. So from that perspective, the total in cost would include not only the design, but also the bidding services, any specifications, any change orders, work, or any construction maintenance, or excuse me, construction management services needed by the architect to get us to that number. So if this is authorized today, in reality, we'd only be spending another $364,000 to go along with the $1 million we've already spent on the plans to date. So there would still be a significant amount of money, almost $900,000 still on budget for this particular contract to go forward after we get the design done, after we get the environmental. Looking at the schedule that we were presented with on Thursday, you're looking at probably the design being done sometime in April. By that time, we're talking about May, June, when we start talking about bidding the project and going to construction. Bidding the project. Going to construction happens several months after that because we need a 30-day bidding window. At that time, you're talking about July making a decision. By then, the long-range financial plan will be completed, and we'll have a little bit more, maybe not completed, but in enough completed state that we'll have a better idea what our finances are moving forward in a 5-year period to make sure that we do have the adequate funding for the project.
And just to clarify, this would bring us completely to the point where we could bid the project.
Correct.
Without this.
Correct. This would get us to the final design, and then we could then bid the project, find out what the true cost would be, and then whether we move forward or not, that's when the decision gets made to go to construction. It's not today, and it won't be probably until June or July. If we do go to bid, then you're probably looking at August before we actually have the number through that process. So we have several different milestones between now and, let's say, August, July, August, September, sometime in that time frame, to actually get a better idea of how much it's going to cost, what the funding scenarios would be, and how we would pay for the project, and what the recommendation from our consultants would be.
Thank you. And just a couple of comments I have. I agree that the Two Bunch Bombs location did not go how I'd like it to, but I don't think that changes the fact of where we are presently. I wish we could go back and change it, but we are where we are. And I believe it was the August meeting that we went over a lot of these options. And in my opinion, if you look at page page 100 in the new, in this board meetings packet, there is space, 50,000 square feet for future development. And I think that when we reviewed the possibility of purchasing other land to put this on rather than the corporate yard, this was the right choice, and I think we're to where we are today because this is the choice that the board general consensus was on. I think we're somewhat lucky that the same site or the same plans for the building will fit on this site. I was very happy with the work that Renewal Clark has done up to this point. I think seeing the site plan or the building plans and touring East Valley, I definitely think it's a space we can grow into. In addition to that 50,000 square foot future development area. So that's all I have to say, but anything else from the board? Director Martin,
Nothing. Thank you.
Director Dove, Vice President. I'll open Director Meyer.
I agree with what you're saying. It looks good like this, but that's why I wanted a plot plan that was to scale so we could see exactly how everything was gonna fit. It's very important to understand, you can just, it looks like it's okay there. But once we get started, where's everything gonna go? Where's the charging stations gonna go between now and the next 10 years?
I believe they
We
see
have to look-
solar
we have-
facilities at the backside of
excuse me,
the parking.
General Manager Macy, I believe I'm speaking here. We have to look ahead in planning. We can't just look at today. We have to look at where the district is gonna be 10 years from now and what might be needed at that location. Or you're gonna be here back to the same problem. We might not be here, but the new board's gonna be dealing with this. So please continue, Mr. Mason.
No, I was just looking at the exhibit number 4 that was included in the packet, it does talk about solar panel and staff parking. And then there is future development labeled on that plan. One thing that, was talked about when we toured the East Valley facility of how big it felt when you were walking around it. And one of the things that's interesting about the area that's been defined by Renewal Clark in this exhibit, it's roughly the same acreage as the East Valley has. And they have, much like you show here, about 2 acres behind that says future development. It's very similar to what they had behind their ops building. So we were able to find additional property here because I know that was a big concern when we first looked at this site originally, was that we didn't have enough room. And that's where the nice thing about it and what's changed over time is when we were first talking about this location, we didn't have the opportunity to take those ponds because we didn't have the Nancy Wright facility under construction. Now that with the Nancy Wright facility under construction and understanding how the recycled water program works and the better management that we're now having at that plant and helping with solids and the maintenance that's coming, at one time we had 3 ponds, then we had 5 ponds, and then because of COVID and some of the flushable wipes and some of the other solids that were coming through the plant, we had an issue, if you will, with the ponds. Now that we've got the chopper pumps and other enhancements that we've made at the plant, the ponds now may or may not all be necessary, especially with the diversion going to Nancy Wright. So I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I apologize for interrupting. I just wanted to, there is solar shown on the plan and there is that future, but a lot has changed since we had the conversation when we first started looking at this.
I mean, solar shown on the plan is great, but you need spaces to park your vehicles there. That's another issue. Guys, do whatever you're gonna vote on, and I guess I'll have to go along with it, but right now, I'm more concerned about the financing part of this. I don't want to see the district get into a financial problem. I know that some of the people out, our customers have also mentioned that they're concerned about us going belly up or going bankrupt. So I would like to see it put off until we have all the funding in for the Nancy Wright treatment plant. Thank you.
Just a reminder, this item is just to approve the amendment to increase the contract amount by 364.
Thank you. Vice President Griffin, again.
No, I was just gonna say, this is what's before us is just to increase the contract, which is actually gonna allow us to take a better look at having them actually do the right drawings. This is not going beyond that. So we can still at some point say, we don't have the funding, we can't do this right now. This is just an increase so they can make the adjustments and give us a real good architectural drawing. So,
Correct. I agree with both of you, but it's $300 and some thousand. If I was in business, it'd be $300 and some thousand I'd be hanging on to until I got the first project over at Nancy Wright treatment plant paid for. I mean, I wouldn't run my business like this, and this isn't my money. This is our ratepayers' money. So I'm even more cautious of what we're doing there.
Anything further from the board? And I'll open public comment. Any members of the public wishing to address the board on this item? Seeing
President Sewell,
none,
there is not.
thank you. We'll close public comment. And do we have a motion for item 14?
I will move, we authorize general manager to amend the professional service contract with Renault Clark Architects for the design of critical services center administration building. Minimum would increase the contract amount $364,000 to a not to exceed amount of $2,224,964.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
I enjoyed the debate, but my answer is no.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith.
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Moving on to item 15, appointments to board standing committees. I have copies for you. And then there's some extras if you could hand to general manager, in case the public would like to have a copy. So the appointments to board standing committees, President Sewell may appoint members to the district's standing committees. Pretty straightforward. Mission Springs Water District, we have 5 standing committees. Each consists of 2 members of the board. So I tried to split that up the best I could. So each of us will be the chair of one committee, and the member of another committee. Do we have any discussion or questions on that? Director Duff? Vice President Griffith?
Just want to say, good job.
Director Martin?
Nothing.
Director Meyerhoffen?
I'm glad I'm still on the engineering. I'm still not sure what it means. We've never had a meeting before. So maybe we can actually have some meetings in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
President
Good job.
Sewell, can you read your appointments into the record, please?
Yes, and I gave away all my copies. May I borrow this? 2024 committees. For the executive committee, we have for the chair, myself, and the member is Vice President Griffith. Engineering committee chair is Meyerhoffen and member is Martin. Finance is chair Director Duff, member Director Meyerhoffen. Human Relations committee is chairperson Director Martin, member is Director Duff, and Public Affairs is chairperson is Vice President Griffith, and the member is myself.
Thank you.
And we need a motion.
Well, you make the appointment, so you've made a record now that those are your appointments, correct?
Yes. Okay. Right. And item 16, affiliation listing. It is recommended to review, update if necessary, and approve the current board affiliation listing. And if you could also pass them to general manager, members of the public. So a few things on this. I'll note one, at the recommendation of Director Duff, we were to look into possible conferences for the wastewater side of our operations. And with the help of General Manager Macy, we came across, CASA, which is California Association of Sanitation Agencies. This seemed to be the most like an aqua conference, which deals with the water side, but in which it was open for staff and board members. The one thing about this, though, is their annual conference is next week. It is in Palm Springs. I have not checked to see if they still have availability, but it's January 24th through the 26th. But we figured with all the good information we get from a conference like Aqua, we're kind of neglecting the wastewater side. So thank you to Director Duff for bringing that up. And I think moving forward, that will be a good resource for our board members and staff. And then there's some removals. Many of the removals from the conferences and workshops were meetings that were not as active as maybe they previously been. But I will just put out there that should a board member come across a meeting they think is relevant and would be helpful to the district, we can always consider that at future board meetings to either add it in or have a one-time compensation for attending a meeting. Also, wanted to note that organizations that we're members of, all board members are welcome to attend, but it is just the primary or the alternate, should the primary not be able to make it, that will receive compensation. And also that many of these meetings that we attend, our main primary objective is to observe and report back to the board and to staff. And being that we only report on meetings once a month, if you're at a meeting and you see something pressing or something that you think the board or staff should be aware of sooner, I ask that you report that directly to the general manager. He can then disseminate the information to either staff or board or both that he seems would be relevant. And last but not least of my comments is, if you're the primary, it is your responsibility to let your alternate know if you are unable to attend any of those meetings. So preferably with as much advance notice as possible. We're hoping that we can continue attending all these different meetings and getting the resources that they have to offer. So if there's any discussion or questions, Director Martin?
Yes, it's probably here and I just don't see it, because you contacted me regarding the Coachella Valley Association of Governments, the Conservation Commission, and the other one, I can't think of the name of it right now, but I don't see it on here.
So at the bottom, is it the two CVAG committees you're mentioning? The voting delegates?
Oh, okay, you got it under voting delegates. Okay, it was assigned meetings. Okay,
So that's where it was previously.
okay, I didn't know that.
Okay. And I have you as the alternate and
Yeah.
Director Duff. Okay,
That's what-
as the primary. Any other questions?
Yeah, the Desert Valley Building Association. All directors used to be compensated for that,
Yes.
and it's no longer that way.
No.
Why?
To be similar to some of the other meetings that we have, I feel like a lot of it was redundant to be paying multiple directors. That's not to say they're still not available. But only one director would be compensated for the meeting and would be in charge of reporting back. I feel like we had a lot of similar reports.
And I think we talked about putting the Riverside County Planning Commission on here.
Yes, but at this time, I just left it at the Riverside County Board of Supervisors. Just that all of their information is referred up to the supervisors to then approve.
All right.
Director Duff. Vice President Griff.
Good job.
Right. And Dory, did you need me to go down the list and read these?
No, Kurt sent me a copy of your list, so I'll make sure that gets translated over and put in your board packets.
Okay, thank you. And I'll open public comment. Any members of the public wishing to address the board on this item?
There is not.
This we do need a motion to approve. Do we have a motion to approve the affiliate listing for 2024?
So moved.
I'll second.
With a motion and a second, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
No,
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Yes.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Discussion items. Item 17, Nancy Wright Regional Water Reclamation Facility update. Anything further? I know we had a presentation on Thursday.
Thank you, President Sewell. Yes, just one update. The state did confirm, I forget the exact day, if it was Friday or today, that they have received everything and it's now left one person's desk and going to the next for the financial side of writing that check, but obviously we're continuing to follow up on them. Also, we are preparing to submit the third disbursement request this week as well. So everything we talked about on Thursday is moving forward. And obviously now that there's a heightened sensitivity to this, we'll be a lot more involved, and there are some other folks that we'll start reaching out to at a higher level within DWR. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion from the board? Director Duff?
Thank you. Thank you for that update. It's good to hear that we received some confirmation from the state. If you could though, if we could have our contractor give us an update or give the board an update. I think that we had discussed on Thursday that it would be wise if the state is willing to accept it, that all available invoicing gets sent in sooner rather than later. So we're already in the first quarter of the next year, and the third and fourth are still not submitted from the last quarters, correct? The third quarter and the fourth quarter invoicing.
Correct.
And I know that you said they're about ready to submit for the third, but their report was that the fourth was almost ready as well. I just want to re-ascertain or not reiterate, thank you, wrong word, reiterate that we want to make sure that that gets sent in. If this week is possible, great, but get all those invoices in as soon as possible and hopefully within 30 days of completing the time period. Thank you.
Vice President. Director Martin? Director Meyerhoff? Right. Any members of the public wish to speak on item 17?
No, President Sewell.
Item 18, Critical Services Center and Administration Building Update.
The presentation was actually more given with the amendment number 3 with Renault Clark, so there is nothing more to add to that.
Anything further from the board? Item 19, MSWD Strategic Planning Update.
Nothing to add to our update. Again, we went through a workshop earlier this month, followed by a study session. And in reality, just a reminder to the board, if you have any comments on the strategic plan, please pass that along to President Sewell and myself, so we can make sure to get those comments made in the final document before we bring it to you in February.
Thank you. Anything further from the board? Director Meyer? Director Duff? Vice President? Consent agenda. Consent agenda items are expected to be routine and non-controversial, to be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. If a member would like an item to be handled separately, it will be removed from the consent agenda for separate action. The consent agenda consists of item 20, approval of minutes. Item 21, register of demands. The register of demands totaling $3,033,826.41. And item 22, public water and sewer systems construction agreements and water and sewer bonding agreement map for tract number 38200 Rancho Descanso. Did we have anyone wishing to pull an item? Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move.
I'll second.
With a motion and a second, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes,
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith.
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, director's reports. I believe we all have to go today. Anyone volunteer to go first?
I'll go first.
Director Martin.
Okay, on the 11th, I attended the Death Valley Builder Association board meeting, nothing to report there. On the 12th, the Riverside County Board of Supervisors meeting, there was a lot of discussion on short-term rental ordinance 97.2. Those are amendments with the goal of ensuring neighborhood compatibility and a reduction of conflicts. Good luck with that. On the 13th, attended the Agua Caliente Tribal Water Authority meeting. They went over the water quality overview board workshop. It was interesting, including one of the items was a letter of violation to one of the people who has a water well on their property. I believe it's a resort, stating that they owed somewhere in the neighborhood of 93,000 back payments and further action to follow that. I was appointed by unanimous vote to be the secretary treasurer of the Tribal Water Board. So looking forward to that. I told them I would be happy to accept as long as I didn't have to take be responsible for the minutes or handling money. And they said that's fine. So anyway, it has different responsibilities, and one would think it's reviewing all documents and giving my approval of the documents, that being an accurate reflection of what was decided by the Tribal Water Authority Board. Then on the 21st, the Urban Water Institute Strategy Planning Session, there were a number of issues discussed, including the Urban Water Institute Conference in February. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Director Meyerhoff.
I only had 3 meetings. One was here at DVBA, we luncheon there, and board meeting and workshop, our study session. That was it for me.
Director Duff.
Okay, on December 12th, I attended the Desert Hot Springs Planning Commission meeting. And I just wanted to take a minute and compliment Commissioner Stover. She's doing a fantastic job. You know, a lot of it was standard business, but when they got into the last agenda item, the plans didn't match the documents that were being proposed. And she called them on that and, you know, said, look, we can't just trust them to fix it later. And she was had really done her homework and had really read through the whole agenda and had really, you know, asked staff to ensure that this didn't continue to happen in the future. So it was nice to see residents in our community standing up for our community and ensuring that what we do get is the best possible projects that we can and that will help our community. So that was just really good work and really good discussion there. On the 19th, I attended the CV-CAN end of the year meeting and holiday party. Several of our board members were there. Ted, you were there as well. It was nice seeing the newly elected board and the new president run that meeting. It was much more following the agenda than it had in the past, and that was nice to see. And also our, at the time, interim general manager, but General Manager Macy did a great job giving a short but sweet speech regarding our wastewater plans for the industrial waste. And those changes are going to be phenomenal for our community and for the businesses that are in our community. And so just really great work there. And thanks again to the staff for all the work that they've done on that project. And for me, that was it. Although I did get to bring my family on the parade, and I just wanted to once again thank all of the staff that worked on that holiday float and on the parade again. It was nice to see all the community members out there cheering us on and loving the Grinch and all of that. It was just a really wonderful community night. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Vice President Griffith.
I did the our strategic planning session in December. Ted, you were there.
It wasn't on the list.
Oh, well, I just write my notes and won't go to, so. Which that was our final one. I did do the holiday luncheon for the employees, which was fantastic. It was great to see how many employees contributed toys. And I forget the group that came out, but did take pictures, tons of pictures for disadvantaged kids or toys for disadvantaged kids. Also did the DHS holiday parade, a very, very cold night, but always a fun event. Also did a CVWD board meeting on December 12th, pretty standard meeting. A compensation bonus for their GM for meeting goals. Don't get your hopes up. And they did a water assessment supply for a Palm Creek Ranch project. And I tried to go back in and download that, but it was taking forever to see exactly where it was. But did our study session, our board meeting, and then December 19th, DWA board meeting, it's a customer appeal, and approval for monitoring wells and some finance items, nothing major there. And then it was the holiday, and so that really did, and it was kind of a nice, not too busy month.
Thank you. And just real quick, just to clarify, I won't, I like hearing about all the meetings you attended, but the main, I guess, director's reports is, compensable item or compensable meetings that were attended, which a daily stipend was claimed outside of our standard, board meetings and now workshops. But I just have one then to report on, and that is December 13th, the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce Luncheon at Azure Palms. We were able to see a little bit more about Azure Palm Spa, and then there was a good turnout of people, and I had a really great conversation with Sean Smith from the City of Desert Hot Springs. He's the Economic Development Director. And we both were talking about how we both have some new leadership in our organizations and how we're very hopeful to continue a great working relationship. And he mentioned how their new city manager had already met with General Manager Macy. So thank you for keeping those lines of communication open. And then a lot of our talk together, the city is having a hard time bringing future development south of Dillon Road on Palm Drive due to it's outside of our service territory. It's actually in Coachella Valley Water District's territory. And the cost to bring services up that far from their nearest point is just out of reach for many of the potential businesses that would like to hopefully move into that area. And I mentioned to him a couple years ago, we did have a sit down with the City of Desert Hot Springs, CVWD, and MSWD, and I'm just hopeful that those discussions can continue, because it'd be a huge benefit for Desert Hot Springs should Mission Springs be able to service those customers in the meantime until Coachella Valley Water District gets their services up that far in their territory. And that's all I have to report on.
I have one comment. I just wanted
Yes.
a clarification because you stated that in terms of what we're required to report on, you're correct in saying that it's if you attended a meeting for which a stipend is listed, that you're required to report on that particular meeting. However, in the past, we've always been allowed to report on the additional items where no stipend if it is of interest to the board. So just are we stopped doing that? Is that what you're?
No.
Okay, all right. Just thank you.
Thank you.
I think he was talking about me because I mentioned I did the strategic plan in that study session.
Well, I thought he was talking about me because of the tribal thing.
No, it was me.
And I don't want to.
You, it's me.
I thought he was talking about me.
New sheriff in town and everybody's worried.
I welcome all meetings you'd like to report on. I'm just saying that the requirements are those that you claim the stipend for. Item 24, General Manager's report. Item A, Finance report. I believe we covered.
Right, that would be the mid-year budget report that we talked about at workshop earlier this month, and then again, and then the resolutions that were passed talked about how we were transferring some of our expenses around. So that does conclude the finance report for this month.
Unless there was any questions or anything further from the board regarding finance. Okay, Public Affairs report. Marion?
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Sewell and members of the board. I have a short PowerPoint to share with you today that discusses many of the public affairs activities that took place in the last month. Additional information is definitely available in your GM packet. Following the holidays, we are definitely seeing an uptick in community events. Later this week, I will be presenting to an aspiring group of leaders at Leadership Coachella Valley. The following day, on Saturday, January 20th, MSWD will have an informational table at the grand opening and dedication of the historic Rock House between 10 and 4 p.m. Throughout the years, MSWD has supported the Historical Society and the Rock House in various ways, and we will continue that support on the 20th. On January 22nd, we will participate in a public safety afternoon at Cabot Yurtsa Elementary School. We'll have the VAC truck out and we'll be providing information about the district so that the kids can learn about their water and wastewater provider. If you've not already done so, I encourage everyone to register for the Corp's dinner on January 27th. Word has it that MSWD will be awarded multiple awards for its wastewater offerings. Again, that's Saturday, January 27th, and it's being held at the Spotlight 29 Casino in Coachella. Next slide, Kurt. While we're on the topic of events, I also wanted to let you know that we have scheduled our 2024 live stream blood drives. They will take place on Wednesday, February 28th, Wednesday, May 15th, Wednesday, July 10th, Wednesday, September 11th, and Wednesday, November 13th. We're very proud to continue partnering with Livestream on these blood drives. They really are a great way for MSWD to give back to our community in a very deep and meaningful way. Starting at the end of the month, MSWD will be hosting a monthly water talk featuring presenters from various organizations covering topics important to the water future of our valley. These are educational talks meant to educate the public about some of the high-level water industry topics that are shaping our industry. They will be especially interesting to those who have attended our Water 101s in the past. Our first session will cover the Salton Sea and will feature Miguel Hernandez from the California Natural Water Resources Agency. Other topics this year will include fleet electrification, the future of the Colorado River, drought and climate resilience, infrastructure needs, and special districts. Sessions will start at 5 p.m. and are being held at the DHS Library Community Room. I have a digital sign-up page on mswd.org/water talks for members of the public or anyone who would like to know more information or would like to register. You should start to see ads and information promoting these events in the coming day, and I'm planning to make a public comment tonight at the City Council meeting to roll out the events. CV Water Counts is gearing up for its 8th year for the CV Water Counts Academy, which is designed for community leaders in the Coachella Valley who want to learn about their local water resources. The comprehensive course covers the different services and use of water in the Coachella Valley, and students will also learn about how local water agencies carefully manage this precious resource. The program will begin in late January, and this year's session will be in person at the UC Riverside Palm Desert campus. It also includes a tour of the Nancy Wright Regional Water Reclamation Facility on March 2nd. Our latest edition of the Water Matters newsletter will be inserted in the January billing statements. This issue will include leadership updates, upcoming water talk dates, and information on our payment assistance programs for those whose budgets are feeling a little pinched after the holidays. I also wanted to alert the board members of another outreach effort currently in development. In the upcoming weeks, we will do general and targeted outreach to engage public feedback on the proposed amendments to Article 6 of the Industrial Discharge Ordinance. We are contacting specific groups, including CVCAN that was mentioned earlier, and all of our existing industrial users to solicit feedback and input before our public hearing in March. Another item that you may have noticed over the weekend was that we changed out the vinyl on our Palm Drive billboard Friday. This new billboard will promote our toilet rebate program. And last but certainly not least, this month we have a new video preview. As you may recall, I'm retooling several of our videos that were showcasing board members who are no longer on our board. We typically showcase these on social media, our website, and we show them at various community events and presentations. Today's video focuses on the value of our award-winning water.
The award-winning water served by Mission Springs Water District is known around the world for its great taste. But that water means so much more to our community. Without it, none of life as we know it would exist. We wash ourselves with it. We clean our houses with it. We swim in it to cool off. And of course, we drink it. It keeps our city running, our families healthy, and our economy growing. Our customers expect water to be ready and available whenever it is needed. Mission Springs Water District remains committed to serving our customers around the clock, 365 days a year. Our crews are out in the field, working every day to keep our system in top condition to ensure a reliable supply for our customers. While the surface of our desert is dry, Mission Springs Water District taps into local supplies underground. Through careful management and responsible use, the aquifer offers a sustainable supply that costs less than imported water. We all must conserve and take steps to protect groundwater to ensure this supply remains a dependable resource for future generations. Preserving the quality of our water supply will also allow Mission Springs Water District to continue serving some of the best tasting drinking water in the world. To learn more about the value of water, visit mswd.org.
And that concludes my report today. Thank you.
Any discussion or questions, Director Duff? Vice President Griffith? Director Martin?
No.
Great job, thank you.
President Sewell, before we move on to
Yes.
the next item, I did want to, you made a comment about working with the city and CVWD to try to get an agreement. We have submitted a very draft agreement to CVWD for their review. This is still in its very preliminary stage. We're working with the city. They received a grant to look at a lot of planning in that area, and they've included us every step of the way. So it is something that we continue to work on. The only reason that it's not mentioned in the general manager's report, even though it was done in December, is because it is such in a preliminary phase going back and forth with CVWD. So we are working with them, and hopefully that agreement will continue to move forward. There are going to be some components, some cost components that will come out of the long-range financial plan that also will be inserted into that. So we are working on it. I just want to let the board know that.
Great, thank you very much. Item 25, District Council comments.
No closed session today and nothing further to report.
Item 26, Director's comments. Director Martin?
Yes, I want to compliment staff on the amount of work when you take a look at this volume of work that takes place preparing for a board meeting. You get to understand how much work is involved in that, and it certainly makes our role as a board members a lot easier that staff does such a thorough job. I also want to compliment our new president for running an outstanding meeting. That was awesome. Thank you. That's all I have.
Director Meyerhoffen?
I just have one question. When do we start the new meetings? Start of next month or?
I believe it's as of today.
As of today, yes.
Director Duff?
I'll reiterate what Director Martin said. Great job, staff. We had 26 agenda items, and this is one of the shortest meetings I've attended in the year that I've been here. So thank you for all the work that the staff did to provide us the tools we needed to be able to do our job. Thank you.
Vice President Griffith?
I won't belabor that point, but I have to concur. And I also want to say thank you for President Sewell for his leadership. And it's nice to see some of the work has been spread around, and I think he's doing a wonderful job. And so I'm really, really eager to see what a fantastic year this is going to be ahead of us. So it's going to be a busy one. We have a lot of stuff on the agendas, but I'm really, really happy that we are where we are. So, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. And I'll just say a big thank you to the board. And not to beat a dead horse, but the affiliates list was a bit of a challenge for me. And I tried to include you all as much as I could and split it as evenly as I could. It's not to say this is necessarily the end all. If there is a meeting that you think is relevant, or if you have some disagreements, I'm open to hearing them. I want us to continue to work together. I think when we all work together, we have a pretty strong board, and thank you to our staff for allowing us to govern. I'm looking forward to this year. Thank you very much. And with that, no closed session today, so the meeting is adjourned.